These are the 9 marketing principles that helped us scale past $1 million in a month, cash collected. Hey, what's up? It's Dan, and yeah, I wanted to share with you some of the marketing principles that we use to help us scale past $1 million a month, cash collected. Last month we did $650,000. Actually, the month before that we did $650,000 cash collected. Last month we cleared the month at $1 million cash collected. And the reason why I shoot this video is really to document success, also document what we're thinking, some of the things that we're doing, in hopes to really help anybody else that might benefit from this, train our team, or anything of the such. So let's jump right in. Number one, the number one thing that the marketing principle, without a shadow of a doubt, that is the most important thing that I see between all successful business owners and those that never become successful. And just give you some context, statistically speaking, we're the one of the biggest, we're the fastest growing company, one of the fastest growing companies in the entire United States, according to the U.S. Bureau of Statistics, based on our revenue. We are the top 1.7% of business in the entire United States, and so. Why am I sharing this with you? Because you have to learn from the people at the way top on what they're doing differently than the 90% that are not doing that. Okay. So number one is the math determines the path. What do I mean by that? Because I talk to so many people that approach their uh approach what they want with no guiding principle. They don't have a North Star. They don't know where they want to go. They kind of have like a vague target, but it's not even a real one. And so the first thing we always do is the math. So like we back into what we want based on the math. So we say, I want to make $1 million this month. Okay, perfect. That's the target. Then we do the math. What would it take? What do we have to do to get to the $1 million month, right? What needs to happen, right? And so you start coming up with theories, and you start coming up with a lot of different opportunities here, and then you find yourself, after doing this for a couple iterations, you find yourself a direct path, a line, if you will, that's direct to your target, right? And if the math does not make sense, meaning like you run out of cash before you can actually make the cash, then that's a bad math, right? Ideally, what you want is you want to have the math be good all the way through the process. So you want the math, I mean, you don't want to go out of business before you can hit the target that you want to hit. So you have to put that into effect as well. So, like, for example, if I want to make 10 sales and I know that it takes me, that I can convert, um, 5% of my leads, okay? I'm just giving conservatively. Then I just back up into, okay, I want 10 sales. And so all I do is just divide 10 divided by 0.05, which is the average, by the way. Um, I need 200 leads. What does 200 leads mean? I need someone that's interested, 200 interested leads, right? 200 people that have said yes to some degree, right? Like said, I want that thing or I'm interested. That's what you need. You need 200 people, right? And so then now you can go to this level where you say, okay, what does it cost to get 200 people? Do I have to reach out to 200 people? Do I pay for ads to get 200 people? Do I have to have partners push me 200 people? What has to happen? Do I have 200 people I can email? Do I have to put 200 people I can call, 200 people I can text? What has to happen? And so your mind goes to not the outcome, but the input, right? So you stop thinking about the outcome because you know if you do the input, the outcome is guaranteed. That's how that works. That's how big businesses work. They talk like that. That's how they do their math. That's how they do the process. They just say the thing and then they back up to what's required and then they do what's required so that the target is guaranteed, right? That's number one. Number two, who you are marketing to is better than what you are marketing. So it doesn't matter what you sell. It matters more who you're selling to than what you are actually selling. How do I know that? Because I remember when we were first starting the Tax Maverick thing, before this, David and I were trying to get people to enroll in a job. We were trying to get them to pay to learn how to do taxes. These people didn't have a job. So we had them there and we were fighting tooth and nail for $1. I'm sitting there for like 45 minutes talking to this one lady. I remember it. I'm sitting in the back of the room because I was helping close at the time. I'm sitting in the back of the room and I'm like, hey, um, so this thing right here, I just need you to start with $1. I don't even have $1. And I'm like, what in the she's like, well, I don't have a job. That's why I'm here. I'm like, makes sense. Conversely, we now talk to people that, are advisors who are making 1 million plus a year. And so when we ask them for $50,000, it's not even a blink of an eye. They're like, yeah, cool. Sounds good. $5 million. They're doing $5 million a year. Cool. That's, if you just do the math, like, um, again, the math is everything. So if I just do the math, right? Like, let's say I'm charging $200 to something and the person only makes $2,000 a year, that's 10% of their income. Do you get that? Like 10% of someone's income, they're going to question a lot of things. Now, conversely, if someone's making $5 million a year, 10% of their income is 500,000. So if I ask 50,000, that's 1%. So it's a different perspective. Like they don't have to think that hard to it, right? It's you're just actually making the target smaller. So the who makes the what a lot easier, right? Because I could sell the same thing for $50,000 as I can for 200 bucks. But who I'm selling to changes the paradigm. Okay. And that's what's very important. Number three, best known beats best. Like the more someone knows about you or know what you do, even if you're not the best, as long as someone has heard you long enough for a long enough period of time, which is I think the 7-11 rule or something like that, by Google, where they see you 7 different times, 11 hours or something, some weird thing like that. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless, if someone knows you, but and you're not the best, and the best isn't well known, they're still going to choose you because you're the only thing that they can think about. You're the top of mind, right? That's why they say top of mind stuff. Okay. Number four, I see a lot of people miss this. If it works, do it until it doesn't. I'll give you a very interesting case study about this. In quarter 2 of this year, we started introducing new offers, new processes, and stuff like that. And our revenue took a significant dip. I'm talking, we were doing $400,000 a month, $500,000 a month, and went down to like $200,000 a month. And we were like, whoa, this is scary, for like 2 months. And then we just removed that thing and went right back up to $400,000, 600,000, and 1 million. Why? Because we stopped doing what worked and we try to introduce new things in the wrong place. Now, there is a time for new things and there's a place for new things, but it's not your core. Your core business should not be changing. Your core business should stay the same and you should introduce things on the back or in the front, but not in the middle. Your middle should stay the middle. And that was something that we understand it too late. And I tell you that because we lose a lot of money. Not to mention, we didn't spend any less money. So we spent the same amount of money, but we just made half that money. So like that just goes, just burned, right? Gone with the wind. Number five, all efforts should be measured. For an example, if you're going to do anything, you might as well track it because you don't know if it's successful or not. It's like kind of like spending money without looking at your bank account. How are you going to know if you have money in your bank? By checking. Like, how are you going to know you still have money so you can spend? By looking at your bank. That's the only way. And so when it comes to efforts, right, you need to be tracking efforts, not just outcomes. So if you listen to what I'm saying here, the big businesses focus on efforts. The small businesses focus on outcomes because the outcomes are not the thing. It's the efforts required to make the outcomes that's what you focus on. When you can focus on the input, then your outcome becomes guaranteed. And that's why, some businesses stay in business for a very long time and some don't because they don't know what inputs are required. And so just shifting that mindset of like, you need to measure every effort, all the effort putting into this thing, you have to measure it, time it, quantify what it takes. Like for an example, um, when we had a appointment setting business, we knew that we had to send out 1,000 um, messages per day so we can have 100 plus appointments on the calendar per month in the next 30 days. And so instead of working on the appointments, we worked on the inputs. We worked on the amount of messages we can get out and deploy in a day. We're like, we cannot stop this machine. This machine has to be a constant. That output has to be a constant. Even when we do ads now, like we don't even test for less than $10,000. Heck, at this point, I think we should not even test less than $20,000 because just the amount of effort required to get a result and the time frame to do it, it's not even worth the time. It really is not. And so it's more, I can say that from the other side, right? Because we make pretty decent revenue. But again, I digress. Number 6, marketing never costs money. Understand this. Marketing does not cost you money. Only not marketing costs you money. Listen to that one more time. It costs you to not market. You can track how much you spend on marketing, but you cannot track how much you could earn with marketing. Okay? Meaning, um, you know, like I heard a saying from Myron Golden. Myron Golden, he comes on a meet, he comes on a stage and he starts talking to the girl, and the girl goes, the guy goes, okay, well, Myron goes, how much do you make a year? I make $100,000. Okay, how much do you want to make a year? I want to make $1 million. And he said to her a saying that I reverberate every single time I think about this. I'm like, he goes, well, you know what you're paying? You're paying life. You're paying life's tax. She go, she could tell she was kind of stunned. You're paying life $900,000 a year because you know you can make $1 million and you're only making 100. So there's a gap now, right? And so when it comes to marketing, people look at it as a cost, and it's only a cost because you don't know how to make it an asset. Okay? An asset is something that reproduces. I don't know the term. You guys can throw that in the chat. But an asset is something that helps you, doesn't hurt you. And marketing in this case, there's no marketing always works. But to what degree, right? How is marketing working? Not if it works or doesn't work. It does work. But what's the continuum of it working, right? And what's the efficiency of it working? So meaning like if I could get to 1 billion people's ears, then my marketing is going to work to some degree. But if I only earn $1 per person, but it costs me $3, then I'm upside down $2 billion, right? Just math. Again, it's just math. Okay. Number 7, the amount of leads is going to equal the amount of sales. You're not going to outsell the amount of leads you had. So focus on the leads. Don't focus on the sales. Because if you do the leads, the sales will make themselves known. Now, context. You have to have a process to take those leads to the sale. If you don't have that, then that's the focus you focus on. You focus on the process, not on the sale. You focus on where does this lead go after. That's what you focus on until you have sales. Once you have sales and you know the process, then your mind jumps back to how many leads will it take over here so that the sales can make themselves known. So you're not going to have 10 sales with 3 leads. It's just not going to happen. So don't let that don't let that misconstrue you. And number 8, always leverage marketing efforts in multiple ways. For an example, I'm doing this training right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the transcript, I'm going to turn it into a blog. I'm going to grab this same video and I'm going to put it, if it works, I'm going to put it into our training modules, so that now our customers can benefit from it as well. I'm going to put this probably on Facebook as well. I'm going to put this probably on another platform. So I use one content to maximize the reach. So I use one thing to multiply the efforts, right? So that way one good thing can become 5 different great things, right? Or one great thing can be 5 different good things. So put it that way. Because, number 9, never underestimate the amount of activity it requires to get a result. I can't tell you how many times I see this come up. Like right now, we want to hit $1 million again, cash collected. And I have our team talking to us and saying, well, Dan, let's be conservative. Let's look at like cost over here. Let's look at this over here. Let's get smaller. Let's get smaller. And I say, dude, if you want this, you can't go small here. You have to expand. You have to like put the pressure on the machine. You have to apply crazy pressure. And I hear it all the time from our team. They're like, Dan, you don't get the costs and stuff like that. I said, okay, if the cost is the issue, that means that we have a pricing problem. Cost should not be an issue if you have the right prices because you have the right margins. The only reason why cost is an issue is because margins are shrinking. And the only reason why margins are shrinking is because the price is not there, meaning the cost and the price are very similar and the margin, the in between stays right there. So if the margin goes like this, then that means the pricing needs to go like this. If the cost is not going down, then the margin has to go up. There's the only two things that can happen, right? Or you drop the cost, but if you do the drop in cost, then you're also going to bring down the ultimate top line. The top line will come down with the costs. It's just how it works. So instead of trying to like, you know, flex out these costs here, you need to increase the revenue here so that there's that margin again. And that can come from higher price points. And most people miss that because they just try to cost down instead of expand up, right? And really that's what it is. So I hope this was helpful for you. This is what we essentially the mindsets and the approaches we use for marketing to ensure that we hit $1 million a month cash collected, and how we're continuously doing it. If you like this video, I put another video up there, show you guys how we hit 650K. If yeah, if it's valuable to you, keep watching. See ya.